I was reading in my daily reading in the book of Acts, chapter 15, where I think it was Paul said to Silas, let's go back and visit some of the churches that we went round before. And I don't know if you've ever been to a place again that you went to and ministered the word, and you came back, and maybe it was a very insignificant place. And I tell you, when you go back to an insignificant place, they really are impressed that you are, have enough love for them to go back again. I've sort of been interested in Russia ever since I came to the Lord. I started reading books like God's Smuggler by Brother Andrew. I don't know if any of you most of you are old enough to know that book, but if you're not, ask somebody and we'll find a copy for you to read. I've always prayed for Russia, and especially under communism where they didn't have access to Bibles. I even tried to go to Russia in the mid-70s, but God stopped me. And, when you start to go somewhere and God says stop, it's very hard. It's easier to go than to stop. So I'm going to go to Russia. I got invited back again. I haven't... This is a map of where I'm going. I'm going up to Japan, and then from Japan to the island of Sakhalin, up north of Japan, and then across to the mainland, and then back to Japan again. In 1992, God gave me, I don't know whether to call it a vision or a dream. I was sort of almost 50, and, are you an old man that has dreams or a young man that has visions? I'm not quite sure. And God gave me this heart vision to get a van, fill it up with Bibles and books and tapes and stuff, and take it to Russia, give out the Bibles and the books and the tapes, give the van to a pastor, and come back to Japan. And I never heard of anybody doing this, but this is the van, and it was full of Bibles and books and tapes and stuff, lots of stuff. I met a guy, a Finnish missionary, and discovered that he was doing exactly what I was dreaming about. And so I knew I had to go with him. And so almost 25 years ago, in September 25 years ago, we were on a ship heading for Sakhalin. It wasn't actually that ship, but I thought you might be interested to see what happens to the Japanese cars that you don't bring to New Zealand that are too dilapidated to take to New Zealand. They used to take them to Russia. And here is one of our vans being unloaded when we first arrived there. And we went to the city of Yuzhno-Sahalinsk, and this was our team. But there were, you can see there's 8 of us there. There was 5 of us that came on the team from Japan, from 5 different nations. There's a Finland guy, a Korean, a Japanese, an American guy down the front there, and the girl is an Australian. She was an exchange student that was living with us at the time, and I'm a Kiwi. And of course we couldn't figure out whose flag was which, but we finally did in the end. And the other 2 are the interpreters. One's from Estonia and one's Russian. So there's 8 different nationalities there. And in a little island like Sakhalin that had only just opened up to the outside world, people had never seen people from other countries like that before. So we were rather unique. We had all sorts of meetings around the countryside, giving out the Bibles, preaching the gospel, seeing people come to the Lord. And some of them were almost killed in the crush. We had, later on I came back and kept on coming back to Russia, and we had crusades and evangelism all over the place. This is a small town, and we had a crusade in the soccer stadium. We had 2,000 or 3,000 people in the stands there, and this is the altar call. We had hundreds come forward to receive the Lord. And look at the little kids. Now, you've got to realize that only a few years before this, it was illegal to tell kids about Jesus. So that was a miracle. What happened was that the evangelist, my friend Raya, the Finnish guy, he had to catch a train. So he sort of preached his message and did the altar call and then ran off to the train. So I got up and preached about healing. And we were there for another hour or so praying for people. And it was just fantastic to see people respond. This is back in 93, I think, this one. Another place, we were doing it in markets. Another place we went to, another village we went to, the Orthodox priest and the guys in uniform are Cossack soldiers. They're sort of a paramilitary group that's loosely aligned with the Orthodox Church. They didn't like us. They didn't want us to use that hall for a meeting. So they blocked the doorways like that. So what happened was, instead, we had a meeting outside, and we probably got more people outside there than we would have got inside the hall, because people didn't want to go inside, of course. So, God works in all sorts of wonderful ways. These people are off to get some of them baptised, and here they are, getting baptised, and I've seen them in rivers and streams and pools and all sorts. This is my friend Collier. Collier likes his cup of tea. As you can see, they have big cups. I've got a big cup, haven't I, Dick? I've got a big cup like that at home, bigger. This is Collier's wife and all of his kids. He's got about 11. And my Finnish friend Rayo, he's got 5 daughters. Poor Rayo, he's only got 5. The guy in the white shirt, Sergei, has been a friend of mine ever since I've been going to Russia. He's got an audio-visual ministry like mine, and so we just have a natural affinity. But I want to tell you about the girl in the red in the back row there. His daughter, she was a teenager, 14, 15 at the time, and she often interpreted for us because she'd learnt English at school. And I got a Facebook message from her last night, and she and her husband have been missionaries in China for the last 6 years. So these are some of my friends. It's another friend of mine, Roman. Roman is a young guy. He was a hippie. He came to the Lord, went to Bible school, came back to Vladivostok to start a church. When I met him, he hadn't found a place to have church yet. He'd already led 19 people to the Lord, including his old father, and he became one of the most dynamic young pastors in the city. I used to go and regularly preach, and he'd have a couple of hundred people in his church at that stage. When I was in that first trip in Yuzhno-Sahalinsk, I was sitting in the back of the pastor's van going down the road, and we'd seen hundreds of people come to the Lord, but there weren't very many churches, there weren't very many workers. And God put in I was crying inside. The people in the van didn't know I was crying, but inside my heart was just crying and crying because there were no workers in the churches. And so that gave me another vision to start a Bible training school, which started 23 years ago in 94, and we've trained over 200 workers for the churches over the years, and the school finally closed down in 2009. But there are a couple of hundred of the graduates around the place, and some of them are anxious that I'm coming there. I still keep track of some of them on Facebook, and it's a lot of fun. I haven't got time to tell you this guy's story. He mugged me in a railway station, got sent to prison. Pastor led him to the Lord, and he became a student in our Bible school. The story has a sad ending, but I haven't got time. You'll have to invite me back to do that one, Clive. So this is where I'm going. I'm going from Japan up to Sakhalin and around the place. I got invited to join a small team, a Japanese pastor who goes up and encourages churches there, and another Japanese and another Kiwi. Some of us know Eleanor Goodall. Well, it's Eleanor's nephew who's a missionary and works in a Bible school in Japan, in Sapporo. So the four of us, plus a Japanese lady who's a Russian lady who's a Russian interpreter, is going with us. So, then I break out of the party halfway around the circuit and go down to Vladivostok and see all my friends down there. Two places we're going to, right up the top, the place called Okha, had a big earthquake in 1995, and we tried to go up there and help, but they wouldn't let us go. They sent all the injured people to the hospitals in Vladivostok, and using Sahalinsk, so we went to the hospitals there and prayed for them and led them to the Lord and had a great time. But I never got to Ocha, but this time I'm going to get to Ocha. The other place we're going to go to is the little side shoot, is a place called Birobidzhan. Now, Birobidzhan is very interesting. That area is what is called a Jewish autonomous area. And back in the 1930s, about 1932 or 3, Stalin made this place a place where Jews could go and sort of live and be Jewish by themselves, because back where they weren't allowed to, or they were persecuted if they spoke Yiddish or wrote it or whatever. And so he made this place. It was originally a military outpost, and the Jews got a one-way ticket there, and some of them got there and wished they had a return ticket, but anyway, it sort of stuck. It was really a failed social experiment. Not only Jews from Russia, but Jews from other parts of the world went to Birobidzhan to sort of create a new Jewish homeland. And especially after the Second World War, there was a lot of Jews who were displaced people. They couldn't go back to where they came from, and so they went to Birobidzhan too. So there are not a lot. I don't think there's a great percentage. About a quarter of the population are Jewish, so they say. But the thing about Jews in Russia is there are some who don't know that they have Jewish roots. And sometimes they find out. There are others that know they're Jews but don't want to let everybody else know that they're Jews, because they still get a fair bit of persecution. There are some who have decided to go to Israel. I know Ebenezer and other groups have worked up in Birobidzhan and around that area. I've been into the area, but I've never actually been to Birobidzhan. I've just been to a village somewhere near there. So this is an interesting time for me. What I wanted to finish saying was that there are also some, I have some friends who are Christian Jews who went to Israel but didn't particularly fit and decided to come back. So there's all of those scenarios there. So that's an interesting place for me to go. Then I go down to Vladivostok. I've got lots of friends there. I'm still working on a schedule for what I do there. And then back to Japan, and I've got 10 days there. And again, I'm going to go around and visit my friends. I've got a couple of Sundays to go to churches there, and that's going to be really amazing. I think, for me, when I first, it's 25 years since I went to Russia, and I think probably this is about my last chance. But I really think that I can make a difference. I've had a lot of experience. I've got a lot of knowledge about what they need to hear. So God's given me a couple of messages to share with them, and I think that, in this way, I'm going to be your representative there, sharing God's love in Russia. So thank you very much.